Good evening, and welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting of February 24th, 2014. We have somewhat of a short agenda this evening, so let's get right into it. And the first item on the agenda is the execute 2014 annual town meeting warrant, and we'll assign the warrant articles. Now, if you recall, the last couple of meetings, we've been discussing the warrant articles, both special and reoccurring. And this evening, I have a couple of changes to the warrant that I'm talking about. And first is the Council of Aging is withdrawing a warrant article for a sinking fund. And number two, Dave, is it appropriate for me to talk about the conservation, assessors property valuation?
Certainly, mention it.
They've established a number, the assessors, the funding for a property revaluation of $40,000. If I'm correct, those are the two changes. We still haven't dismissed the first Sherburne Regional School Committee on how to fund capital. We know from the last meeting that we signed the intermunicipal agreement, and that allows the town to pay the cost for Dover and Sherburne, however they feel best. I don't see any other changes. Do you, Carol?
No, I don't. I'm just wondering, can we vote now to dismiss Article 14?
Not to take it off the warrant, it was the recommendation, I believe, of council.
Of town council, that's correct, just in the very unlikely event
Okay.
that for some reason, the intermunicipal agreement fell apart. We should just
Okay.
have that as a backup.
Okay.
And the administration agreed with that approach.
Yes,
Okay.
they did.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
I thought we paid bills for the prior year.
that's a good point. I saw that on the way in here.
Oh, that's the, back in August, we got a copy of a memo from the, from Dover Sherburne about a change in the allocation,
The regional assessment,
the regional assessment.
and that's that full number, the 44,216.
So that was the difference, and it was determined that it could be done by a supplemental.
Good, and that's the sole supplemental appropriation?
Best we know, yes.
Okay. No, I don't see anything else. Now, should we, what do we do now, Dave? Let me ask that question.
Vote to execute the warrant.
Yes, please.
Okay. I will make a motion to execute the warrant. What, Carol, sorry?
Okay, never mind. I'll do it as a, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. I'll make a motion to execute the warrant for the annual town meeting that will be held on Monday, May 5th, 2014, as written.
So, Greer, did you get feedback from capital budget to verify?
I heard from Bob Springett.
Okay.
And so I've left on some of the items that are still pending. We're waiting to see whether we receive
So
anything in
the-
writing from those committees.
The Park and Rec softball field
That's
and
correct.
the cemetery hearse
That's correct.
will stay in, and they can be dismissed if we find out by the time of the Blue Book.
Yes,
Okay, and the school committee list is the correct list?
it is. I
Okay.
verified that today with their business manager. There were some changes to that, so I verified it's correct.
Okay.
And I guess the one last thing I'd like to add is we've established a price on the Council of Aging revolving fund of $14,000. I believe our accountant treasurer went through and saw the activity last year, and I guess the best estimate would be $14,000, not to exceed $14,000. Okay.
So do you need a second, Linda?
At this point, Carol, if you're satisfied.
Oh, yep, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And these will go in the postal system when, Grant?
By March 7th at the very latest.
As you can hear, it's the cold and flu season. Robin unfortunately is on the
Sorry for
weather.
myself.
Oh, thank you.
Joe?
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Greer. Okay, let's go on to the next agenda item, which is to award the fire station bay doors project. And second of that, we will vote to waive the building permit and discuss the building permit fee on this particular project. Who wants to speak to this, Greer?
I can, sure,
Please.
Mr. Dolly. The bid was put out generally with a due date of February 13th for raising the height of the ladder truck bay doors to accommodate the new fire truck. And there were two bidders. Ultimately, we had a couple more people come to the walkthrough, but two companies put in bids. And the low bidder was Barbado Construction Company out of Middleborough with a contract sum of $63,477, which was in the ballpark of the estimate for that project. So we are asking the board to award the project this evening to Barbado. Reference checks were done. They are DCAM certified. There were 43 evaluations in the last year with an average score of 93, so they get good references, do a lot of mechanical systems, and the architect for this project is actually familiar with an architect who's worked with them and was one of the reference checks and also recommended them.
Do we know the timing? Say we go ahead and appoint them this evening. What is the timing on the doors being fixed?
What we would do is ask you to authorize the town administrator to sign a contract as soon as possible on this. As soon as we receive that, we'll ask them for all of the paperwork, the bonds, insurance certificates, get a notice to proceed out there. After we've issued that, they have 10 business days in which to start the job, so we're hoping they'll start very quickly. We'll schedule a pre-construction meeting and get them going within the next couple of weeks, hopefully. And the original substantial completion, we were shooting for sometime in April. It may be pushed out a little bit, but should be completed this spring.
And who will be project managing it from our standpoint?
The architect will be overseeing
Okay.
it, but the building owner would be the police chief. He will be coordinating with the deputy fire chief because it has to do with the fire bay doors. And of course, the building maintenance superintendent is on site daily,
Right, okay.
keeping an eye on things. So, yeah, we have everyone lined up.
Now, if you recall, we put aside 92,000 originally for this, so it's well underneath, obviously, there's costs involved above this construction company, one of being the architectural fees. Okay, good. Okay, do you have any questions, Robin?
I do not.
I do not.
Okay, then I'll move to award the fire station bay doors project to Barbado Construction Company in the amount of $63,477. And I'll further, I guess, ask you to sign the contract when complete. Okay, do I hear a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, thank you very much. Thank you, Maria.
We're also asking that the board vote to waive the building permit
Just-
fee.
yeah,
Yes, for this project.
We think
Thank you.
alike.
It
Go
would
ahead,
be
Maria, please.
approximately $634. It's $100 per thousand, so. We can't ask you to waive the permit fees for electrical or any other work because that's how those inspectors get paid, is through the fee that's paid, but building permit fee certainly we would ask you.
And that's consistent with our past practices when
Yes.
we're right.
Yes.
Left hand, right hand.
Right, right. Well, I'll make the motion that we waive the building permit fee with the value that we know of at $634 right now, so I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, as we move along, is we have an appointment on our agenda, but it's the correction of an appointment that I made at our last meeting, Richard Wood, on the open space. And Greg, if you can give us
Mr.
a technical
Dahlia, yes,
correction.
as it turns out, that vacancy was to fill an unexpired term. It had been sitting for a while, so I wasn't aware. It was actually a position that had been vacated prior to its expiration. So if the board would please revote it just as to fill an unexpired term.
And that expires, thank you.
2016.
Okay, then I'll make the motion to correct Richard Wood's appointment to the open space, and his position would be for the unexpired term that expires 2016. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Our next agenda item is to appoint a transfer station operator. We had a long-time Dover employee retired January 6th, I believe it was, this year. And after much vetting and the hiring system that you guys have in place, you have decided on one individual, and Greer's the shoe again. You want to speak to this?
Sure. Last week, 3 of the 7 applicants were interviewed by myself, the superintendent of streets, and the town administrator, and it was our unanimous opinion that Michael Petrangelo from Millis be hired for this position. He came across as very enthusiastic. He had excellent references. He's apparently a very hard worker, has worked throughout high school in a landscaping company, and is pretty much willing to do just about anything. He just in our opinion, was head and shoulders above the other 2, although they were also very good candidates, so we feel very strongly about this recommendation.
How many hours is that a week?
It's 3 days a week, Wednesdays, Saturdays,
Wednesday,
and
Saturday,
Sundays.
Sunday.
Is that 24 hours? 24 hours a week. And that he would be hired at the minimum step for that position.
Good. I was reading when you were speaking. You went through all the references, so forth, so on?
Yes, yeah, his references were excellent. They all agreed with our sense of him, which is that he's a very hard worker.
Good. And I see Mr. Hughes's signature in this also. Good. Do you have any questions, Robin, about this gentleman?
No, I do not.
Carol? Then I will make the motion to appoint a new transfer station operator, Michael Petrangelo from Millis. And his effective hiring date would be when?
Mr. Hughes was waiting for the board's decision on this, but if you were to appoint him this evening, he thought he would probably start next week.
Good.
Yes.
Needs his pre-employment physical.
Okay.
Does the chief know it?
Yes. He's, yeah.
In a good way, Mrs.
In a
Lisbon.
good way.
Yes,
In a very good way.
Not
Yes.
from the back seat to the front seat.
Yes.
Versus know of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, as it turns out, and this was purely coincidental, when this fellow applied for the position, the police chief wasn't aware of it, and he wasn't aware that Chief McGowan was the police chief here in Dover. He'd had him in Dare, in Horton
Oh,
Center,
no.
and
Oh.
said, he's a very good boy. So, yeah,
Oh, that's
There you
good.
go.
yeah.
Okay, did I just make the I think I made the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Today's the 24th, already, the end of February.
Almost the end of
As we right along. We have special licenses this evening. I think I have two in front of me. I'll read them, then we'll vote for both of them after the fact. The first one is at the Massachusetts Horticultural Society on February 26th. A volunteer appreciation dinner. And the second one is on the Boston College Conner Center, at the Boston College Conner Center. St. Sebastian Banquet on March 6th, 2014. The chief has signed off on both of those. That's good. So do I hear a motion to approve these?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. You're reading my mind. Nothing personal.
Yeah.
I hope it didn't come across bad.
We had the same thought.
Next agenda item, unfortunately, this time of year, we have to go through a lot of snow and ice authorizations. Who can speak to this one? Okay,
I can speak to that one, Mr. Chairman.
please, you've been quiet over there, Dave, I like to hear your voice.
There's been a lot of snow of late, and
And
it
ice.
costs money, and ice, and it costs money to clear it and keep the streets safe for our citizens. As usual, Superintendent of Streets Hughes and his crew have done an outstanding job this winter in Dover. You don't have to read road signs to know when you hit Dover and when you leave Dover, but it does cost money. So he's basically depleted the authorization, so he's looking for another $75,000, hopefully to get him through the winter, but no guarantees.
And this is over and above a $50,000 increase
Correct.
that we did in February, middle of February.
There's been a lot of press articles recently on sand inventory, and I know we spoke briefly, we have more than enough sand to get us through,
We have sufficient material, Mr. Chairman.
okay? Yeah,
Unless it snows through July.
which is true.
Something tells me Mr. Hughes would still have sufficient material, somehow or other.
You heard it here.
You know, I've been reading those articles, with great interest, because number one, maybe technology is gonna change for us in the future, the way we combat, ice on roads and so forth. But there was a metric used in one of the articles on, I believe it was either the cost per mile per storm to clean off snow. So I was wondering, as things slow down for Mr. Hughes and everyone, if we can determine how we are in line with our metric of cleaning, you know, a mile of roadway in a certain storm.
We can certainly give you a ballpark number.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anecdotes are anecdotes, but that Saturday night of the first weekend of President's Day week vacation time, we had that storm that was supposed to do more, but was still pretty icy in the evening. I was out picking someone up at the 128 train station around 9:30 Saturday evening. And coming back, the 128 was icy. And we get off 109, and that's icy and everything else, and she's saying, oh, you know, are you okay, Mrs. Lisbon, to drive, blah, blah, blah. And this is one of my daughter's friends, and so I said, okay, we're just going slow and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, these roads and blah. And then all of a sudden, she said, the road's fine. And I
was
said,
Dover.
we just crossed into Dover on Westfield Street. It was night and day,
Yeah, well,
night and day.
it's a common comment, though.
It is.
Craig and his
Yep.
crowd does a great job.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have to make the motion to approve
An additional $75,000.
75. Did you make that motion?
I can make a motion
Please.
to approve an additional $75,000 to supplement the snow and ice budget.
Second.
Second on that, thank you, Carol. All in favor? Aye.
All right. So that takes us up to 125 for the revenue for next year, right?
125?
Or 75 plus
Yeah.
50, I think.
Right, right, right.
But if we have excess inventory of salted sand,
This goes back.
We should sell it,
we
huh?
could sell some of it.
And there's supply and demand out there,
Right,
so
right,
with this, really can make money here. Okay, John, I guess you'll get that tomorrow at some point. Thank you. Our next agenda item is to approve the February 10th, 2014 meeting minutes. In this particular meeting, we signed the intermunicipal agreement. Bless you. For the purpose of the regional school committee and their capital needs. Okay, I see everything. Is in line?
I move we approve the minutes of February 10th.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Next agenda item is citizens' comments. And John, I'll be honest with you, I keep asking if you want to speak to anything. It's up to you.
No, I think the warrant committee's in pretty good shape here. We've got an open hearing 3 weeks from this evening, 3 weeks and 35 minutes from this evening, and we've got some more work to do and some people to talk to, but things are proceeding apace.
Excellent, thank you, John. Carol, do you have anything?
I don't have anything.
Oh, I have something.
Please.
So I wanted to announce my intention to run again for
Oh,
the Board
excellent.
of Selectmen.
Excellent.
Good to hear.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's been a year of learning. Now that I have 1 year under my belt, maybe I'll be better next year.
No, I appreciate that very much, and I believe I'm speaking for Carol when I say that also. Thank you.
I wasn't sure when to make the announcement.
No, I was actually curious, so I'm glad to hear that. You never want to strong arm someone, but I was about to. Okay, with that, I will entertain adjournment then. A motion for adjournment.
So moved?
All in favor? Aye. Thank you and good night.